It's more an experience now, and if you're going to charge for an experience, then you need to make sure if they're not turning up for it, you're still going to be paid, because all the overheads still stay the same. The wages still need to be paid, the electricity, everything that's happening in the salon, the rates. So why are you letting your clients walk all over you like that?
I'm Stephen GUNNIP, salon marketing consultant, serial entrepreneur, and founder. In this series, I sit down with successful salon owners.
If you don't have structure, you don't have a good team, you don't have a business. Honestly, you'll be stuck behind the chair doing 10 clients a day on your own.
Salon professionals.
There's a lot of dogma in our industry, right? And we do it because that's what I always done. I trained that way because that's how I was trained and that's how I do it. But we don't look at it as like, what's suitable now?
And industry leaders.
If you give up learning, then you've given up hairdressing, because it's constantly evolving. And that is the same in business. If you give up learning and seeking out information, then you may as well just give up, because your business isn't going to progress. It's going to stay the same.
To focus on the business side of the hair and beauty industry, aiming to inspire all salon professionals to earn a great living doing what they love. Sit back, relax, and get inspired by these business stories.
Today I'm very happy to be joined by Karine Jackson inside your stunning salon. Karine, if people haven't had a chance to sort of meet you yet, give us a little bit of an introduction, who you are and what you've been doing in the industry and so on forth.
So hi, I'm Karine Jackson. I'm of Karine Jackson Sustainable Hair. I've been in the industry now over 35 years, which is amazing. I've watched it change dramatically. I've enjoyed it. I started my career in a very small town, in a very small suburb of Australia, Corrimal, in my parents' salon. So I've watched business throughout my career. My parents were very clear on how they ran the salon, and I had clear direction and goals as to what we needed to achieve each day. And I think that's helped me throughout my career. I've worked with Charles Worthington, where I got to get the creative side really going, Fiona Hanson in Australia, or Heslop, sorry, where I really excelled at my creativity. I've combined the two of them in the salon here, along with looking after the planet. So I think it's a complete circle. We have, sustainable living, sustainable workplace, and sustainable creativity.
You and I have been sort of collaborating for several years together and stuff, and I've seen a very clear evolution in the business, and I very much admire the way that you deal with the business side of it. I think the industry has recognized you many times over for all the creative aspects that you're pulling out, but internally within the business, only the people that are within these walls can really see how you're operating with the team and how you're doing with things. And one of the things that you've introduced since we've come back from COVID, because everything has changed after COVID, is very much the deposit schemes. I'm a massive believer of what you've done here. So I just wanted you to take a little bit of time to talk about why you've introduced the deposits and why it's been so important in the development of the salon since COVID.
Well, it's the deposits to me are key for any business to succeed. We'd already started thinking about it and planning the deposits and taking it on what I call repeat offenders for clients, because what clients have to understand and what the team have to understand, the value to themselves, is that we are only selling ourselves once to one client at a time. We're not selling 50 Karine Jacksons, so if one doesn't turn up, it's okay. It's one-on-one. If one client doesn't turn up, that has a detrimental effect to the business. They have brought that space. That is their space and theirs alone. So we should be charging for it.
Yeah, and without you having an adequate amount of time to be able to then refill that space, more often than not, if somebody doesn't give you that time, then that's a complete wasted space. And you have, everything, overheads and wages to look after during that time.
And we also think it's important, we with our clients now, we give them a really good amount of time. There's no rushing them in and out. Like hairdressing in the 80s and the 90s, it was just wham bam, get in, get out, do what you can. It's more an experience now, and if you're going to charge for an experience, then you need to make sure if they're not turning up for it, you're still going to be paid, because all the overheads still stay the same. The wages still need to be paid, the electricity, everything that's happening in the salon, the rates. So why are you letting your clients walk all over you like that? I understand that things can go wrong, but they've got to also understand that we have wages to pay.
Of course.
And we had a little situation where 19% of our clients were cancelling at the last minute or not turning up. Now,
what period was this? Just after when we came back?
No, it was happening before.
Okay.
But we also had a few weeks ago, well, a couple of months ago actually, where it went up to 19% again, but we took deposits this time. And so we didn't suffer as much as what we did in the past. And when it gets up to there, you've only got to do the maths on what you're turning over in a salon. So if you're a 10,000, a week salon, you can work out how much you're losing there. It's not that difficult.
Enormous.
It's nearly £2,000. So that's a lot of money when you've got that booked in and you've got all your wages. And for hairdressers to not just be hairdressers, they need to be paid and respected.
Before you started introducing the deposit scheme into the salon, what kind of resistance did you have? Like, if you were to give advice on somebody who's potentially like another salon owner that's potentially thinking of introducing deposits, what are the internal resistance that you had with it?
So we've let it grow organically, excuse the pun, my business. But we started prior to lockdown, or pre-lockdown, with repeat offenders. As I said, they had to pay a deposit. We weren't going to let them rebook. They didn't, because they're not worth having as a client if they're going to keep
wasting
our time. Exactly. So and
essentially almost stealing money, revenue from the business.
Exactly. Harsh, but exactly.
Yeah.
So that's where the offenders come in. So we'd already started that process, and I think the team could understand, because it was affecting their wages directly. And I'm very open with the clients about this as well. Yes, they get a wage, but for them to earn any more, they need to be doing the right amount of clients. So that was the first thing. The second thing is post-lockdown was we weren't charging at first because of COVID and things like that. And then it just got out of control, and we had clients phoning up the morning of. We couldn't sustain it. We wouldn't be here if I didn't start taking deposits. The resistance we got is from our regular clients, and we still get it. And the ones that have been coming for 20 years, that well, Karine, I've never not turned up. I said, okay, that's fine, but if you do, the machine will actually kick in, and we won't have a choice. But then you've got your clients have been coming for 20 years that are happy. They rebook all year and let me pay the deposit for the next time now. We've set up different systems, and it's evolving all the time. So don't be like, this is how we're going to do it. Let it evolve. So we've now started, our most recent evolution on this is we've started emailing out a week before with a direct link to a Stripe payment, because sometimes paying over the phone with a card, people don't want to do it, and I understand that. So we found other ways of doing it for them.
And the technology is there to support, whether it's through the booking program, I think, or whether it's on a separate platform. If the technology is there, how do you feel like your team, especially your front of house team, have been able to adapt to these interactions about deposits?
At first they don't like it, but then when a client doesn't turn up, and it happens, where's the deposit? And they look at you and say, well, who's paying for this? Because I'm not, because you haven't followed your job. Obviously I do pay for it, but I point that out, and they look at you like, oh God, okay, I get why we do it now. And when you show them the figures, so 19% is a lot of money. When you break that down in your business, if any business owner goes and has a look, it's one of the biggest things I monitor, is how many people are not turning up for their appointments. Then 19% is a lot. And if you want to do the maths on that over a year, you think about how much revenue.
It's unsustainable.
Totally unsustainable. the great thing is with new clients now, they don't know any different. So yes, you might struggle a bit and have a little bit of kickback from some of your old-time regular clients. Don't be too harsh on them. Let it go. Let them, okay, I get that you're never going to be off. The minute they do it to you, so there is a charge for this. Oh yeah, but I've been coming here for years. I understand, so that's why I'm going to let it ride this time, but you will need to pay a deposit for next time. They've now broken the code.
Yeah.
You've given them the opportunity, so they've now broken the code. New clients don't even get a choice.
Yeah.
And quite often they say, oh, I'll call back with my card details. Oh, that's fine. If they haven't called back within 48 hours, we take the appointment out.
Yeah.
It's
I
gone.
think that's very important.
Yeah. And you have to stick to it. You're not doing anything wrong here. You buy a train ticket, you don't turn up for the train, you don't get your money back.
And it's part of I think the way that I've experienced it within your salon is it's part of the business culture now.
Yeah.
When you receive an email, there's a notification on there at the bottom of the email that speaks about the deposit, on all the printed material that you have within the salon, on the service menus. You've been able to transcribe that deposit scheme within every part of your business.
I think communication to the clients has been really, really important, really important. And one thing that, they understand when you tell them there was a 19% no-show rate, no business, and they're like, oh, I never thought about that. They don't think about what effect it has on your staff, on you. We're not a big conglomerate, we're not a massive organisation, we're independent businesses. Most hair salons are.
Yeah.
Why are we being treated like this? Because they didn't know. And once we've told them, and once we've explained it to them, they're like, wow, I understand now.
Yeah.
And they respect you more.
Because the consumer doesn't really see it. They don't take the time to understand it in the perspective of an independent salon owner that has wages to pay, that has a team that are looking to make a good living from doing what they love doing every day.
Yeah.
And someone in your position is there to protect that.
And clients also think, oh, you're making big profit, you're doing this, that and the other. But if you're explaining to them that there isn't a huge profit margin in this, and you should be supporting local, then they will support you. There's very, very few hairdressers driving around in Rolls Royces.
Yeah.
I know there are some, but there's very few.
Yeah.
And I think, the clients need to understand that these are independent businesses that are working really hard to make sure that everybody's got a living wage. And I think that's the key thing. It's a living wage.
Yeah, exactly.
My team are not on minimum wage, and they shouldn't be. They work hard.
Yeah. And the more experienced stylists that are higher rate of charge, higher rate of pay, their time is valuable. They only have a certain amount of time to sell during a day, and then when it goes unchecked, then it has a detrimental effect on everything. So that's really good about the deposits.
Yeah, I think it's successful. The team now, if they see somebody that hasn't paid a deposit, because it's all automatic in our system, they're like, why is there no deposit? We take them out and we book another client in.
Yeah, perfect. And if you had any advice for the salon owners that are looking to maybe bring this on board, would you recommend it as a system for them to integrate in the business?
100%. Don't be scared. Don't undervalue yourself. You're important to this client, and if that client respects you, then they will pay it. If they don't want to pay it, then they're probably not going to turn up anyway. So I think, always think like that. Obviously with your older clients, or longer term clients, not older clients, take it easy with them, slowly build them up. If they do it once, not turn up, then that's when the code's broken, and that's when you could say, well, actually now we have to just pay the deposit. Make it easy for the client as well. We give them options. You can book online, you can get the email, or you can call and pay, or we will call you. So or you can do it as you leave. There's lots of options. Don't pigeonhole people into one way of doing things. Give them the choices.
I think that's absolutely great advice. Massive supporter of every salon owner out there to start taking deposit scheme. And if every salon around the country were integrating deposits, I think we would be educating the consumer on why it's so important.
That's really key, is educating the consumer as to why we're doing it, so they understand the impact it has on a business. Once they understand that, then they're like, I get it.
Totally
Let
get
me
it.
pay it. Yeah.
And it's not money that you're spending for free. It's part
Yeah.
of the service that you'll be receiving anyways, and it's a commitment, a financial commitment that you'll be there for what you've booked.
Some of the other things we do as well, sorry I forgot to add this, is we say 48 hours on our system. We won't charge until it's 24 hours.
Yeah.
I know you can sometimes, you have to bend sometimes, but very occasionally, because they'll eat you alive if you bend for everyone.
I think the best way is what you described earlier, to give somebody the benefit of the doubt once, put a client note saying, client's been warned, and from this point onwards, then it's charged.
Also too, especially on a Saturday, that's the best day, is we explain when they phone, I'm really not well.
Big colour appointment on a Saturday.
3-hour appointment. Really sorry, but you realise you will lose your deposit. 9 times out of 10 they come in. Because they've generally just got hangover. And it's really interesting to see how many people do go, actually I can make it.
So the second thing that I've noticed in our collaborations together that you've really been able to take on board within the business is to share financial data with your team. I mean, historically, in our industry, salon owners would always keep their cards close to their chest and be quite apprehensive about sharing this data with their team. But for you, why have you found it so important to hold weekly meetings and to have weekly targets with your team?
There's a few factors, and I think it comes into the three areas that I mentioned when I did my introduction. And it's important for the team to understand what they're striving for, what their goal is. It's important for them to understand why their goal is important for the salon goal. So the salon, has its target. It's got to pay the electricity, it's got to pay the gas, it's got to pay all of that. If they don't understand why you're putting this target in place, then they're never going to go for it. So I share with them what that costs. I also share with them how much the electricity has gone up, things like that, because if they don't understand, then they waste. If they don't understand how much colour they're mixing up and how much is going down the sink, firstly, it's not sustainable for our planet, it's not very good for our environment, but secondly, it costs the salon a fortune. So we monitor everything, so how much product you're using, how much that's costing, how much of that gets applied to the client. Your target sheets tell you just how well you're doing at this as well. So, have you hit your goals? How far out are you? Why you are? Oh, you're at 85% utilisation, then you should be smashing your targets. Why aren't you? Oh, you've stretched your appointments out. This is not sustainable. You want to be paid this much an hour, then you need to be charging this much an hour. And so we've put that into process. So it's very easy for me to monitor, for them to understand why they're not hitting their targets. Every stylist wants to earn 40 grand a year. It is easy to do if you're hitting your targets, you're understanding this is your business. Your space and your column is your time and your money.
For the people out there that are getting requests from their team members that want to earn more money, but that haven't yet introduced these sort of financial targets to teach their team how they can, what would be your advice?
To teach your team to value their time. That's the first thing. Team members are really good at saying to you, I need an hour and a half for that haircut. Great. You charge an hour and a half for that haircut. They'll do that haircut in an hour if you're going to charge more, because they're shy of charging the client. And they need to understand that this is your time, your money, and you can earn a whole lot more if you value what you charge.
And what about monitoring the columns where somebody's booked in for example, half head highlights, but they decide to apply 3/4 head or to put a few more colors in, or to do extra work, maybe add a treatment in and then not put it in at the columns. Is that still happening within the salon?
Not often, no. I think because my team understand that for them to earn good money, for the business to succeed, they need to charge correctly. But also too, it's up on the board, and hairdressers are competitive whether they like it or not. Even the ones that sit in my reviews and say, I'm not competitive, but the second that they're not hitting the top, Oh, why aren't I at the top? Why is my goal sheet got all red on it? And I know that sounds really, I don't know, the red and the green sounds a bit, I don't know what the word I'd use there, but some people look at me like, oh, isn't that a bit childish? My team requested it because it's visual. Hairdressers are visual.
Very visual.
And so they just want to see whether they've got a green box or they've got a red box.
I'm a strong believer of associating a reward with accomplishment. So what kind of reward system have you implemented with the team to pat them on the back to say, well done?
So there's a few different things we've done. It's progressed into something quite big at the moment. The first thing is for every green box, you'd get a point or you get a name. So your name goes in. If you're over 10% of your target, you get 2 points. So my team can achieve up to 10 points per week. So their name goes into a jar. And then at the end of the week, in our team meeting, we have a weekly team meeting, which is really important because this is where you can look at figures, look at how successful each person's being and how successful the salon's being. And you can also iron out things that aren't working so well. Generally, the team will say, oh, can we sort the recycling this way? I think it'll work better. So that's really important.
The internal processes of the salon.
Yeah. And this is where at the end of it, the names go in and you pull a name out and they win an extra hour off that week. Paid.
And they can choose where they want the hour to be and they just put it in the columns themselves.
Once you've got them into that mode, they quickly realise having an hour off is great, but they're not going to hit their targets. So they have now requested a bigger or a better bonus. So we have a 3 monthly bonus happening now where it's £200 to the overall winner, so the first person over the line, which is brilliant. I think that's really good. But it's also important.
So how does that work with the first person over the line?
So that's the person with the most names in the pot.
So when the target is hit, you put a green
box,
and if they've hit it within a 10% time frame or 10% of the target, they get one name, and if it's over 10%, they get two names. Okay.
Yes. And then
and it's cumulative over this period of 3 months.
Okay. So for example, if you hit 10 one week, 5 the next week, 6 the next week, you've got 21 in your pot. And this builds up and builds up. Once the end of the 3 months come, we have our overall winner. Well done, Stephen. You've won your first past the post. Everybody that's names
the person that's accumulated the most amount of names basically wins that first prize.
Okay. And it can be any amount you want. Then the second part of that is all the names are in the pot. Then everyone has a chance at winning £50, which is a great bonus. So the person that won the £200 got more chance of actually also winning that £50 because their name's in there the most, but also gives, everybody's been working hard towards it. So it also gives that person the opportunity, or everybody the opportunity to win a bit of an extra bonus.
And how have you seen the difference between your longer term team members adopting that system and the new team members that have just come on board? What's the difference between the two?
Well, the new team members are embracing it much better. Because they want to show me that they're doing well. But what that has also in turn done is made that the longer team members, and I've had team members been with me 17 years, go, well, they can't beat me at this, I'm not having this. So they've upped their game. So that blow dry that walks in that they could have done, they're now doing, instead of going, no, I haven't got time, I'm far too busy. And the client, they're not stretching out that appointment and not charging it. So it's making them think more about what they're doing.
About how they're utilizing the column space and what they're doing.
Yeah.
Also, one of the things that I've recognized that you do extremely well on a business aspect of things is being able to seek external support within the business aspect to stay ahead of the curve and to continue with the business education that you're doing. So I'd love for you to expand a little bit more why you feel that's an important aspect of your career as a salon owner.
Well, there's a couple of reasons. First being that I run my business on my own, and sometimes that can become consuming, and how do you know whether you're doing things wrong or right? You're doing it, but you want to make sure, you want to bounce the ideas off people. I think as humans, I'm a very sharing person, and I think people that share are more successful. I really do believe that. I have seen hairdressers and business owners that are just like all consuming and quite miserable, actually. So, I'd rather be out there thinking, well, what's the next best thing? Who can help me? I can't do this on my own. We're learning all the time. What's changing? I work with fantastic organisations, Vital Voices, Salon SPA Club, Fellowship for British Hairdressing. I have friends within the industry that if I'm not sure if I'm doing something right, that I don't hesitate in calling them and asking an opinion. I think it's important to be open. We're human, and we need to strive to succeed, and to do this you need to be able to share information, and I think that's important.
With some of the salon owners that I've worked with in the past, a lot of them seem to think that it's almost embarrassing to come out and ask for help. It's a little bit lonely at the top for them, They can't go to their salon teams to ask, and they don't know where to go. So what kind of resources would you recommend for people to, for them to seek out?
Do there is so much out there. I work very closely with you. I have done for 9 years, because you have a big understanding of figures and promotion, and you're big into sales and marketing, which works for me. I also do a lot with the fellowship, which has the business side of it, but it mixes it with the creative side. So I'm working with hairdressers on that. Also, with Vital Voices, just last night I was with a friend of mine, and she was only here for 24 hours. Her new partner was here, and he said, so what is Vital Voices? What does it do? And it's a community where these businesses have got nothing to do with hairdressing, where we're supporting each other sustainably in business, women supporting each other predominantly, but that can expand to anything. I can share information with people on how to operate and communicate and succeed in a healthy environment. And you do that with I think that's important to do that across the board, getting outside information.
And it's great, the three sort of companies, our company, the Fellowship, and Vital Voices, are three completely separate. We focus on the business and new client acquisition and recruitment. The Fellowship is very much the creative dominant support, and supporting the team and the creative aspect. And Vital Voices has nothing to do with the industry whatsoever. It's all kinds of different business owners that come together and share, essentially.
Yeah, and help you structure, putting together structure for me is really important. But if you do it from just one angle, then you've got a very narrow-minded business plan, or a route, or a path. If you can get as much information from everywhere, then you've got a much stronger path with areas you can go to for support. And I think it's that old saying that hairdressers have: if you give up learning, then you've given up hairdressing, because it's constantly evolving. And that is the same in business. If you give up learning and seeking out information, then you may as well just give up, because your business isn't going to progress. It's going to stay the same.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic advice. Yeah.
Change is scary, but necessary.
Yeah, but I think it's something that you've massively embraced, to always stay ahead of the curve and implement change, even though that very often I've seen you've had resistance from the team, but when you truly internally believe that change will have a beneficial effect to the business, you've been able to move forward with it.
And I think it's important, you've just said, when the team have that, you have to give them the reason why. How, why, what, where, when. It's important, because if you don't do that, they're not going to understand why you're implementing the change. Why does it have to change? Why do we have to charge hourly?
This comes back to the running your business and having a team that follow your vision, and being able to communicate that vision of what you want from your team.
Yeah.
If you had two pieces of advice that you'd like to share with the audience on things that you've done since the 14th of April last year when we reopened, things that have had very good positive impact on your business, what would they be?
Well, two's difficult because there's like 20 I could tell you about. I think the deposits are key. I think value your business, value your team. Get the client to understand why though. I've just explained that if you don't give the client the reason why, or the staff the reason why, or yourself the reason why, then no one's going to know the no. That's the first bit. So deposits. If we're doing it across the industry globally, we won't have the problem of clients not turning up. Make sure that your team understand what they're aiming for, what their goals are. You know, if they want to earn 40, 50 grand a year, how are they going to achieve this? And break it down with your goal sheets, highlight it so that they can see they're progressing. If you can't see that you're progressing, then you're never going to progress.
That's fantastic advice. With the commission sheets that we've been able to put together with exactly where they need to be and how much money they need to bring in and breaking all of that down. That's
because
fantastic.
quite often they will say to you, oh, I can't earn enough money. Well, no, you can. Here it is here. You now need to earn it. You're not just a hairdresser. Just a hairdresser is earning minimum wage. You're a successful, creative, skilled person, and this is how you're going to achieve it.
So many hours are spent honing the craft, and having being financially rewarded for that is extremely important. And the more business owners actually take pride in teaching that business aspect to it, the more successful our industry is going to move forward in the future.
And it's in big change, the industry right now. Huge change.
Massive change.
So, start thinking differently to move forward.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
the third bit of advice.
Definitely. Start thinking. Embrace change, essentially. So, Karine, if any of our viewers would like to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Best way would be to DM me at Karine Jackson Salon, or to go onto our website at www.karinejackson.co.uk and send us an email.
We'll also put a link in the show notes at the bottom so that if anybody wants to get in touch and ask you any questions, that they can do so. So I just wanted to take a second to say a massive thank you for investing your time this morning to come down and invite us into your salon to have this interview with you. I think we've created a lot of very good content for our viewers. So thank you very much.
Thanks for inviting me, Steve.
So 1, 2, 3.
Well, you don't have to count it aloud. You just look at the camera. And then... do you count?
Yeah, do your count. Yeah, nice.
Sorry, voodoo. You said voodoo.
Did I say voodoo? I was wondering, what are you saying? Our voodoo.